of Wrestling. I'm joined by Sarah and Tyler Bateman.
Hey.
How are you guys?
Oh, sleepy, cold, wet.
So not California-like.
No, these were lies. I was told, come here, you're gonna have 80-degree weather and sunshine, and I was lied to. There's a whole song about how it doesn't rain here. Lies.
So what made
It was
you
a
two
lie song.
Well, a song full of lies.
So what made you two want to be wrestlers?
You first.
It's a bit tropey, but I never remember a time where I don't remember wrestling, if that makes sense. So that pretty much, and as I grew up, I always told myself if I could find a school close enough, I would go at least until they told me not to show up anymore. Luckily, they liked my money, and they kept having me back, so that's why.
I saw Chyna on TV one day when I was flipping through the channels, and I was like, oh, Zeta, but it wasn't Zeta. It was another badass chick, and I fell in love with wrestling, watched for a while, but then around the time I hit puberty was around the time like wrestling got really heavy on the like mud wrestling and like strip the clothes off. And when you're like a girl going through a time in your life where you're already being told like all this stuff, hearing males, adult men like talk about women's bodies that way, it was just really, it hurt my self-esteem. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not big enough to be a wrestler, so never mind, that dream, it has to die. And then I was like almost 30 and I met a wrestler and we started talking. He's in the WWE, and through talking to him I realized there was like a school you could go to. It never even occurred to me before. And so I was like, I went to the school, I said, am I too old and fat to be a wrestler? And she was like, no. So I started training.
So where did you guys train?
I originally trained at the New Mid-South Wrestling Academy in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma under Tom Jones. And then eventually, years later, I moved out to California. And then a few years after that, I began subsequent training at the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy with Joey Chaos and Robbie Phoenix and Los Luchas. And then this past year, I was lucky enough to do a few of the New Japan LA dojo camps under Shibata.
I started my training with Santino Bros, and then the New Japan camp, and then the WOW Dojo.
So what's it like training with the New Japan camp?
It's a lot of cardio, very specific conditioning, a lot of go, and a lot of focus on the small details and small differences, and just I think focusing on making the incremental improvements, especially those of us who had been doing it for a while when we showed up.
Hard. I was the only girl, and they didn't change any of the weights on anything for me, so I had to go through the same circuit as the guys, and it was the hardest week of my life.
So what made you guys decide to work together?
Somebody else made us do it, actually. The booker at Santino Bros, I went through a manager class after the wrestling class, and the booker was like, hey, who would you want to manage? And I said, Jake Atlas, because I think I could be a great manager for Jake Atlas. And the booker said, what about Tyler Bateman instead? And I said, oh, no, I don't want to manage him. He doesn't need a manager. He's perfect on the mic. He's great in the ring. He has everything he needs, right? So like as a manager, you want to add something to somebody. So at first I wasn't with it, but it was my only chance to be a manager, so I took it. And we found a way to still have me contribute something to what Tyler Bateman's mythology is. So I think it worked out, despite my misgivings.
So what's it like getting to be his manager on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood?
I love it. That's really my favorite place that we work, because as much as it is someone else's vision, they allow us like kind of a lot of freedom to tell our story in a way. And so as far as like from a creative standpoint, it really feels like this is the place where we're telling the like canon story. You know, if there were like fan fiction versions or non-canon versions of the Sarah Wolfe and Tyler Bateman story, but this is kind of like the main story, I think.
So you were in a tag team with Brody King. You had some amazing matches in bar wrestling. What was that like for you?
It was great. Brody King is one of my best friends, so that made a lot of it real easy. I was there the first day he showed up to train at the Santino Brothers Dojo, so I was there for a lot of that as well. I said, and we're really good friends. We already had chemistry. We already knew that we could work well together. And then we got a lot of great opportunities because of Joey Ryan and bar wrestling.
If you could team up again with him, who would you like to go against?
That's always a good question. I'm always real bad at answering these as well because someone asks and then my mind blanks.
And you've got to wrestle quite a lot of awesome people as well.
The Josh Alexander and All Ego Ethan Page, I forget what their tag name was. The Monster Mafia, that's what it was. That is something that he and I both talked about that we would have liked to have done before he got signed. And I think technically we could still do it, but it would need to be in Canada.
I think that's
Canada.
interesting. It's interesting because you guys have such different characters from like Ethan Page, who's like this goofball, so it'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brody actually went against Ethan, so there'd be like a little bit of history with
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So you work with WoW, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is that like getting to be in a tag team with somebody?
I love tag team wrestling. It's kind of my preferred way to wrestle, and I wish I had just like someone all the time to be my tag team. What I really love about WoW is it's women who have all different types of looks, who come from all different types of backgrounds, and we get to be ourselves. Nobody was like, oh, you have to be skinnier, you have to be taller, you have to fit this stand. No, we all got to be who we were. And so getting to work with another dark, evil chick as a girl gang, like we're in charge, we're the bosses. Like that's kind of awesome to me.
I think it's important because WoW is a women's promotion, and you have this larger-than-life characters. You know, like back in the old days of like WWE or WCW. So I think it's really important. Little girls get to grow up watching you, these empowering women who kick butt.
Absolutely, and more important to me is these little girls get to look and they have so many choices for who to connect with. Do you like the girl who's like a jungle animal? Do you like the girl who's a beast? Do you like the girl who's from Australia? Do you like the girl who's small and feisty? Do you like the girl who's large and strong? Like there's something for everybody. The nerd girl, the mean girl. So it's just amazing to be a part of something like that.
So you two as a couple, who would you like to go against, past or present?
She don't like wrestling. Is her preference? I don't think.
No, I want to just win automatically. I would like to just not even have to do anything.
Show up,
just show up and
hand
hand me
raised,
a championship belt of some sort. Who you pick your answer without thinking of me though? What would you pick? Somebody we could beat easy.
Easy? Oh no.
Maybe Candace and Joey back in the day.
That would have been my first
Yeah,
shot.
I think they would be a lot of fun because I like character, I like storytelling, and they both really knew how to do that. And yet we're also good wrestlers.
So what's one of the hardest parts being a wrestler?
Wrestling.
Yes. Just aches and pains and like everything accrues over time. And especially the longer you've been going on, the longer your body hurts, and then it's mostly the things that you would expect. And sometimes the things you don't.
Yeah, it hurts.
Does traveling get hard for you too?
I don't like it because you imagine you do a really intense physical activity, and then you shush so loud. You do a really intense physical activity, and then you sit in a cramped car for like 6 hours. It doesn't feel very good. So that's why I don't like traveling. I like seeing everything. I like looking out the window and see like the Pacific Coast Highway. It's beautiful, but man, I hate just sitting cramped after you've done all that working out.
Same.
So what's it like wrestling at bar for you?
I like it a lot. It's a completely different environment.
And finally, word of advice for anyone who wants to work in the industry?
Start. That's your main thing holding you back. You have to start. You can't make excuses. You can't say it costs too much. You can't say, oh, it's too far away. Like, the only thing to do is to do it. And if you really want your dream, you'll find a way. If you can't afford it, talk to the owners. Say, offer to sweep, to clean, to be a janitor, to do social media, to write their website. Like, there's something you have to offer. Figure out what it is if you really can't afford to pay it. And make it happen. You have work, make a deal with your job. Say, can I come in an hour early so I can leave an hour early? Make it happen.
Once again, that covers it pretty well. And try to be in the best shape you can when you show up.
Yeah, do some workouts. Don't just show up to wrestling. Do some Pilates, some HIIT, something. You're gonna hurt. You need to prepare your body for that.
Thank you guys so much. It was a wonderful interview.
Of course.